Hello, my name is Himanshu Patel and welcome back. Let's today talk about the role the United States played in World War I, why America was so late to enter the war, how the conflict transformed life on the home front, and how President Woodrow Wilson helped shape the peace at the Paris Peace Conference. The United States entered the war late due to the neutrality and division at home, but became decisive in securing Allied victory. The war expanded federal authority, limited civil liberties, and reshaped American society through migration and industrial growth. World War I was not just a European conflict, it's permanently changed the meaning of democracy, freedom, and America's role in world. Source: Give Me Liberty, Chapter 19. What role the US played in World War I? Although the United States entered in 1917, its impact was decisive. Give Me Liberty explains that Congress passed the Selective Service Act, drafting nearly 3 million men into military service. Forner explains in Chapter 19. American troops under General John J. Pershing helped tip the balance in 1918, especially during major offensives that pushed German forces back beyond troops. American industrial power supplied food, weapons, and loans that sustained the Allies. The Library of Congress holds wartime propaganda, posters, and mobilization materials that show how the government encouraged enlistment and production. Forner argues that America's economic strength and fresh troops were critical in bringing about Germany's surrender in November 1918. Why did United States enter World War I so late? When World War I began in 1914, President Woodrow Wilson declared American neutrality because the country was deeply divided, with immigrants from both Allied and Central Power nations. Wilson believed the US should act as a neutral mediator and avoid European entanglements. However, neutrality became difficult as Germany resumed unrestricted submarine warfare. The sinking of the RMS Lusitania in 1915 killed 128 Americans, increasing public anger. Source: Library of Congress. The turning point came with the Zimmermann telegram, in which Germany proposed an alliance with Mexico against the US. The Library of Congress preserves the decoded telegram, proving that the threat was real. Wilson ultimately justified war by claiming America must take the world safe for democracy. What impact did the war have on the home front? The war dramatically expanded federal power and reshaped American society. Americans were mobilized to support the war effort, and many people moved across the country for military training or factory jobs. Factories were retooled and operated around the clock to produce weapons and military supplies, leading to the growth of new industrial centers and worker housing. According to QME Liberty, agencies like the War Industries Board coordinated industrial production, marking a major increase in government control over the economy. What role did the President Wilson play at the Paris Peace Conference? At the Paris Peace Conference in 1990, Wilson personally traveled to Europe, the first sitting US president to do so. He proposed his 14 points, which called for national self determination, open diplomacy, and the creation of a League of Nations. Wilson believed the League would ensure collective security and prevent future wars. However, European leaders demanded harsh penalties against Germany, resulting in the Treaty of Versailles. When Wilson returned home, the US Senate refused to ratify the treaty, and the United States never joined the League of Nations. Here I have answered few questions from World War I. Thank you for watching the video.